Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to review the JJRC H11D FPV Quadcopter. This is a mini quadcopter, and this is a review model from gearbest.com. I'll have the links in the description of where you can pick this up down below if you're interested to buy this. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to unbox this, take it out of the box, set it up, show you how to put everything together, what all the controls do, and then we're going to go ahead and take this out to the park, do some park flying video with a hat cam, also do some in-house flight, and then come on back to the bench and give it kind of a final pros and cons and afterthoughts, and give you my opinion on how I think it did and the pros and cons and everything. So let's get started. So first of all, just taking it out of the box, real quick unboxing here. Oops, flip this over. Okay, so right on the top we have our instruction manual, and wow, cool. So we have this top cover, we have a little bag of goodies here, it looks like props and that kind of stuff. We have our controller here, cool looking controller. We have a little box here, this probably has the FPV gear in it. We have some prop guards, and here is the H11D here. This thing looks pretty cool. I heard a lot of good stuff about this. I finally got the opportunity to review this, and I'm really excited. I haven't reviewed a JJRC product for a while, and really excited on this. So let's see what else we get. We get this little bag of screws with a couple of padded little feet here, and we also get another bag with the charger in it. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what's in this other box that came in the main box. I'm assuming this is the FPV equipment. Cool, so it looks like we have our camera on top here. That's going to be our 5.8 gigahertz FPV camera for transmitting video. And we're also getting, this is the charger. So this charger would plug into the screen here. And the screen, here's the charge port for the charger right here. And then this is the on-off switch for the screen. And the screen has this built-in video receiver right here. It looks like there's no antenna. The antenna must be just kind of built in. So it looks like we don't have to worry about screwing an antenna on. It must have a built-in antenna probably laying across here inside built in. And we open up this battery door, and we can see it looks like we have to plug in this other lithium polymer LiPo battery, which is a 3.7 volt 4.20 or 420 mAh LiPo. You have the option to remove this battery if you want and charge it separately, or just charge it with a supplied charger. So that's kind of interesting. They give us that. And opening this up, see how this looks. This should be a sunshade here. It just pops open, and we have a nice flat matte finish screen, so it's going to be minimal reflections. The glossy screens really have problems with reflections, especially in the sunlight. It looks like the way it's going to mount on the controller is very simple. It looks like this thing just pops up. Controller kind of comes with this built-in little spring-loaded latch. Very interesting. And this thing should just sit right in here. Yep, just like that. So I just center it, and there we go. So we have the FPV screen mounted right on the controller, kind of like a game style. Really convenient, really easy to do. And we can close this up. If we don't want to use it, we can just detach it like this and close the whole thing down. And that's really convenient if you don't want to fly with this FPV screen. If you just want to fly regular, you won't have the FPV screen. You don't have any hardware, any bolts, any screws to mess with. You just slide it off, and it's nice and compact here. So let's go through the rest of the stuff here before we start mounting all this stuff up. So what else we get in the box is 4 prop guards. So these prop guards, it looks like they're just going to push on to the ends here. And they do push on fairly tight, so they probably, you know, for close proximity flying, they're probably not going to be falling off. You may want to put a screw in there, and it looks like they give you that option with a little screw hole. I'm not going to be putting these on. If you're a beginner flyer, definitely put these on and it'll save your props. And then they give you this other bag, and good job JJRC. These guys give us 4 extra propellers. Really happy to see that. With any manufacturer, they give us a brand new set, because it's usually beginner flyers that are buying these types of quadcopter toys, and they're still learning. So we also get, looks like there's 4 landing gear here, a screwdriver, and I'm not seeing a screw in the controller. The controller basically just slides open like this, and it's taking 1, 2, 3 AAA batteries. You can see how that latches in nice and tight. And this is kind of a soft touch material, really easy on the hands, and it's got this kind of candy apple nice paint job on the bottom here with these nice contrasting red buttons. So I really like the look of this controller. It's very interesting, kind of a game stick controller. So anyway, let's sorry for the delay. Let's go ahead and check out the craft itself. Basically, really nice looking. I really like the design. JJRC, their quality has gotten pretty top notch, and you can tell by the paint job. It's got this candy apple orange paint job here. The propellers are really nice and well shaped. Nice well shaped propellers. Just the fit and finish and construction on this looks really good. Battery door, a nice latching battery door that won't fall off. Looks like we have JST connectors here for the battery, and the battery they're giving us is a 3.7 volt 1100 mAh, so that's a pretty good sized battery, and that's great because it is an FPV copter, so it's going to take that extra juice we need here. Really like the way they did the battery door. It latches up really nice and tight, and it's really easy to unlatch and just fold back. So really impressed with that. It looks like they have a really nice modular motor design here for changing motors. Once in a while you will have a motor that will fail, and they give you this screwdriver to just pop open the motor bay here. You've got a plug here where you can unplug the motor and go ahead and just pull this motor out, pop a new motor in, put back on the cover, and you're good to go as far as motor swaps go. That's a big problem with a lot of quads, is it's kind of hard to get to the motors. So really impressed with these guys taking that extra step in design and making it really simple for people to put new motors in if they eventually go bad. It's got this on-off switch here, so I really like on-off switches on these little mini quads. Really convenient. You can plug in, you don't have to power up and fly right away. You can just turn it on when you're ready to go. So let's go ahead and put this thing together, and then we'll talk about the controller and see how all that stuff works. So I'm just putting on the legs here. Real simple to put the legs on. Just kind of pushing them into these slots here. And while I'm pushing these in, I'm noticing the lighting here. You can see this lighting on the side here, on both sides here, and then you can notice lighting on the back. There's 2 LEDs on the back. Then you have that one blue eye in the front, that LED eye in the front. Okay, so installing the camera should be fairly simple. All we're doing is taking this plug here and plugging it right into the bottom of the quadcopter, making sure that the pins line up before we push it in. And since that's the front, it should be sliding forward. So we're just kind of lining up the grooves here and then just pushing it forward, and it just kind of clips right in there. So that's it. That's really easy to mount the camera. While we're looking at the camera, we can kind of see this on-off switch here, and then there's actually a charge port. This plug actually has a double output. It's also got this little tiny micro JST here, which you can charge the FPV camera with as well. So that's kind of interesting. The FPV camera comes with its own little battery. I'm not sure how many mAh is in here, but that's cool. That'll give us more flight time as long as the flight time to weight ratio equals out. Let's see how this opens up when we have the camera on there. Okay, cool. So you can still open it up here just like that while the camera's on, It does kind of hit the front a little bit, but you don't need to open it all the way up. You can just open it that much and pull the battery in and out, and you should be fine. And it still clips in nice and easy when you're closing it. And then if you wanted to, they do supply those little screws, which you can screw in the landing gear. They are pretty in there. They're shoved in there pretty good. So I'm yanking on this and they're not coming out. So you probably don't even have to put those screws in if you don't want to. They'll probably only fall out in like a really bad crash or something. Let's go ahead and talk about the controller real quick and see what this thing's all about. Click this for different rates of flight, either faster or slower rates of flight here. And then if you press and hold it, it should turn off and on the lights for day flight to save some power, or night flight so you can see the lights. And then the nice thing about this is you'll notice all of the buttons are labeled really easily, nicely in English. We can see rollover here, so that would indicate that pressing this would actually start us to do flips. And then any direction we press the right thumbstick, we can do some flips. And we can see how these are all labeled really nice and easy, and that's a step up. All the quadcopters I reviewed so far don't have this labeling for every single button, so this is really nice to see. This button takes a photo, this button takes video, start and stop for both. This is going to be how you're going to set your accelerometer for level if you're having any trouble. So it says hold this for a couple seconds, and we'll test that out, see what that does. And then we have a button specifically for automatic return, so that should return either to you or in your general direction when you're flying. And then the CF mode, basically a headless mode, whatever direction the craft is facing, back will be always back towards you, and forward will be forward, left will be left, right will be right. So really neat how they have these designated buttons that are easy to read here. And then of course we have our tuning buttons, so pressing right and left on this will tune your roll if it's drifting in one way or the other, and also your pitch on these two here. And then on the left side here, the thumbstick, we're going to have our, and this is the interesting thing on this one, not very many craft have this, but this one actually has a remote camera pitch control. So the actual FPV camera that's on the copter, you can press down and up, and it will actually tilt the camera while you're flying remotely. So that's really cool to have. I'm really liking that, and I'm really anxious to see how that works in the field. Then of course the left and right arrows here are going to tune your yaw, if it's drifting left, if it's turning left or right for some reason without you having any input. You're going to go ahead and hit the opposite way to compensate until it's steady and straight. So that's it for the controller. Doesn't look like the thumbsticks are clicking in, they're just regular thumbsticks. But really nice, really well done. Really like the colors, and all the labeling is excellent, top notch. So I'm really liking this so far. Okay, so before we go ahead and fly, I'm just going to turn everything on, make sure everything works, check that camera tilt control, and just see how all that works out. So batteries in, plugged in. Going to go ahead and power on the quad, power on the camera. Setting it down, powering on the controller. And we can hear that beeping. Okay, so that's ready to go. And we're going to turn on the screen real quick. Wow, okay, so we already have our picture. So one other thing here, I am not noticing a SD card. So you're going to have to get your own, it looks like, SD card, and go ahead and provide that and stick it in this slot here in the camera. We got our slot right here for the SD card. So the FPV looks like it's working very well. We have a very minimal latency. Looks like our latency may be only 200 milliseconds about, maybe around there. So let's see how this camera works. We can see all the lighting here. We got our blue eye on the front, we got green lights on the sides, and we got red lights on the back. So looks like it's going to really be really easy to tell orientation when we're flying. Just from feeling the camera shake a little bit here, looks like it's probably going to be necessary to put those other pads they give you in the box here to lessen the vibration in the camera. So I'm going to go ahead and just stick those on real quick. Okay, there we go. So that should be a little better. So we got the camera on, And I'm going to go ahead and press the down button here. And we're watching the screen. I don't know if you guys can hopefully see that. That's the FPV screen there. And I'm going to go ahead and press this down. So it looks like it's going kind of in small increments. If I just press and let off, I'm going to go ahead and press and hold. Okay. Okay, so it's going up. Going down. There we go. So it looks like it may have a little bit of a binding issue once in a while when you are going up and down. But it does work. You just have to hold the camera down, up or down button to get it to pitch up or down. Cool. So that'll be really neat. So you can see there that it is possible to connect to FPV goggles. Uses the 5.8 frequency, so just find the frequency and you should be good to go. So that's a good option. If you ever decide to try out goggles for FPV, this would be a definite possibility. Okay, so that was the setup, initial inspection, and getting everything together, making sure everything works. So let's go ahead and take this guy out in the park, do some test flights, come on back to the bench, also do some house flights, and then come on back to the bench and do a pros and cons, afterthoughts, and see how this thing did. So let's go fly.